Preview.
In this video, we will be considering another question, and that relates to trying to differentiate between political scientists and the politician. And in another way, it means we are trying to differentiate between political science and politics. Now, when we look at the field of political science as an academic field of study, we will discover that it is far broader than just the study of politics as regards the control of resources, as regards the control of the machinery of government. Now, when we look at the field of political science, we are going to see that there are differences between political science as an holistic or academic field um, compared to the field of politics. Now, if we now have differences between the field of political science and politics, that means also that we have differences between a political scientist who studies political science and a politician who is someone that is involved in the art of politics. Now, these are the differences that we want to establish going forward in this video. Now, one of the key difference between a political scientist and a politician, as we have it, is that the work of a political scientist is all encompassing, and it encompasses even the study of politics. That means that political science is far broader in scope compared to politics. And also the study, a political science studies not just politics, it studies even political systems, study different political ideologies and all that, but and also political structure. But for a politician is involved in the actual practice of politics. And when we talk about the actual practice of politics, we are talking about the control of the machinery of government. So that is one of the key difference between a political scientist and a politician. Another key difference between a political scientist and a politician is that a political scientist operates under the umbrella of theoretical politics, while a politician operates in line with applied politics. Now, when we talk about theoretical politics, we are talking about that the major work of a political scientist is based on theories that have been postulated by scholars. But for a politician might not even have a good knowledge of these theoretical postulations, but is actually involved in the art of politics, in the art of practicing politics, that is applied politics. And sometimes even it is these politicians that serve as basis of study even for the political scientists. Another key difference between political scientist and a politician is that a political scientist integrates his field with other branches of knowledge. So sometimes a political scientist draws knowledge from anthropology, sometimes a political scientist draws knowledge from history, sometimes a political scientist draws knowledge from history, a political scientist can draw knowledge from economics, a political scientist can draw knowledge from law, and from this actually is carrying out his work. But for a politician does not necessarily need to be multidimensional, but a political scientist is multidimensional because he's operating in a multidisciplinary field of study. So a politician might just be focused only on his field, might be an expert, for instance, a medical practitioner that finds himself in the field of politics. So he or she might not really have knowledge of economics, knowledge of history, knowledge of all this, knowledge of law, but basically being a politician, he can bring in experts in this different field to actually make up for his or her deficiencies. So that is another area of differentiation between a political scientist and a politician. Also, a politician is concerned with the day-to-day running of government. So he's concerned about the running of government, the daily activities of government, while a political scientist seeks to study the origin of politics. It goes beyond just the daily activities. It goes into the past, focus on the present, and use it to even predict the future. That is for a political scientist. So that is why we say that a politician is focused on the present, while a political scientist is concerned about the past and the present in predicting future occurrence in politics. Also, a politician is essentially and primarily restricted to his or her geographical entity. That means the immediate context of a politician is his or her major area of concentration. So you talk of a Nigerian politician focused on the politics in Nigeria, or a South African politician focused on the politics in South Africa. The same also an American politician focused on the play of politics in America. But for a political scientist, he goes beyond just his immediate territory. His focus is extensive, is universal. So as he's trying to study politics, how politics is played in Nigeria, so also he or she is trying to study how politics is played in Australia. He or she is trying to understand how politics is played in the United States of America, how politics is played in other West African countries, and so on, in Europe and others. So that means that for a politician is confined, is territorially confined, while there is a universal focus for a political scientist. Another area of differentiation is whereas the field of politics is open to everyone, political scientist is a tag only reserved for those who have studied and undergone training in the field of political science. So anyone, any Dick and Harry can just find himself and call himself a politician. But not every Dick and Harry can actually call himself, because there must be a qualification for you to be called a political scientist. So that is also an area of differentiation. So a political scientist actually undergo the process of training, while a politician can be a politician even without training. Another area of differentiation is that while a politician's activities revolve around democracy, there is no such restriction for a political scientist. The work of a political scientist transcends political system, a particular political system. What do we mean with this? Without democracy, the work of a politician will not be functional. That means the system in place determines the functionality of a politician. If you are practicing a military rule, for instance, there is, and where we have political matters actually going down, or where politics has been suspended, that means a politician and his activities have been reduced to the barest minimum. But when we talk about the political science, whether it is on the military rule, whether there is democracy, it is an authoritarian government, whichever government is in place, the value and the work of a political scientist continues. Also, while all the mode of analysis of a political scientist is scientific, the mode of analysis that is carried out in political science is a scientific study of politics. But and that means that they make use of empirical data. It might be the quantitative or the qualitative or the mixed method. They carry out research in a scientific manner. But that of a politician always makes use of the normative and value based system. It's more or less, how is it done? That is for a politician. Then what are the things I feel should be done? So there is no scientific measurement or research carried out by most politicians, but this is a necessarily part, intricately part of the work of a political scientist. So all these are areas of differentiation between a political scientist and a politician, and this also can also go majorly in differentiating political science and politics.